From formation to taxation, covering inflation, temptation, high expectations, and that dreaded stagnation, we bring to you Hip Nation.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4 of Hip Nation. My name is Sarah and we are here today to talk about startups in a Hip Nation. Shamey couldn't be here today, so we have a sub co-host today, and his name is Kevin Smith, and I'm going to pass it over to him to introduce himself.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. My name's Kevin Smith. I own a funeral home here in Penticton called Kettle Valley Memorial, and I'm very excited to be part of this podcast here today and coming on to guest host because it wasn't too long ago I started my startup. So I'm excited and can't wait to get into the topics that we're going to be talking about.
Absolutely. And this is two milestones for Hip Nation, because not only do we have a special co-host, but we also have our very first guest. And we are so excited to bring in Nicole Clark, who is one of the most fantastic people I know. And I'm going to hand it over to her to introduce herself, and then we'll get into the episode.
Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome.
No pressure at all.
No pressure.
My name's Nicole Clark. I am the training manager and a business advisor with Community Futures Okanagan-Smilkameen. I've been working with startup business owners for more years than I can share here, but let's say it's 3+ decades. So I have literally worked with hundreds and hundreds of people who have started a business, expanded their business, found themselves in trouble with their business. Mm-hmm. And so I'm super excited to be here today and share some of what I've learned over those 3+ decades.
And I have to say, what better expert could we have brought in for this episode? This episode's topic being startups in a Hip Nation. We're going to just talk about all things startup. And this, by the way, is a recurring episode, so we will be having future episodes talking about startups in a Hip Nation, because there are so many things to cover and so many things that people are interested in knowing.
Yes, like the question or comment I hear most is, I'm really good at what I do, or I'm really passionate about this, but I need to understand the business side of things.
Yes.
That's so true. I'm that person. I always said I could run my own funeral home. I could do my own job. And when I got into it, as you know, reality hit me in the teeth, and it was completely different than what I thought it was going to be.
For sure.
So it's a humbling experience, and definitely one that made me relook at myself and my knowledge base behind what I was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I recall conversations with you, Mr. Smith.
Yes.
About your startup.
Yes, lots of conversations.
Kevin, did you take Nicole's class?
No. What do we do?
We should tell people what kind of a class that you teach.
Okay. Well, first of all, Kevin hired me as a consultant to help him create his business plan.
I did not
That's
know
right.
this.
Yes.
I coached him as I think you were a few months in.
Yeah.
Just a few.
Yeah.
And feeling a little overwhelmed. And we had a conversation, and it was like, okay, it's time to actually figure out what we're doing and what we need to do and how to implement. So the classes I teach a business plan development workshop series that I say will answer all your questions, including the ones you don't know you have yet.
I love that.
Yeah. So we don't know what we don't know. and jumping in with both feet and flailing about is not necessarily the best
Flailing
approach.
Listen, that's exactly how I started my
That's
business.
exactly how I started too. Yeah.
But I understand the benefits of doing it the other way, the right way. So Nicole, if you had to give me some tips for what all startups, how do I word it? What all startups should be doing before they get going, or I guess like important things that they should put on their checklist. What would you say those should be?
First of all, don't be too attached to your idea.
Ooh.
Yes.
And how do you find that people navigate that when they're like passionate about something and that's the business they want to start because they're passionate about it?
Businesses succeed because they solve a problem, not because someone is passionate about what they do.
Oh, that was like
Write
a mic
that down.
drop.
So what we see is I have this fabulous idea. I'm passionate about it. And I know people will buy my product or service. And they jump in with both feet. And then they find out that people won't maybe buy their product or service the way that they have perceived that it will be attractive to their customers.
Yep.
And I mean, I've had people who have said, I know the business community in this town needs this service. And I'm going to go and lease this $2,500 a month space and maybe some expensive equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to offer this service. And I have said, stop, pause, breathe,
Yep.
and go out and make sure that the business community actually needs that service and will pay you to use it. I know they need it. And 9 months later, we have a bankruptcy, a closed business, maybe a broken family.
Oh my.
And, some things you can't come back from. And so taking that little bit of time to confirm your idea with the market is super, super important.
And so do you have tactics for the ways people can confirm their idea in the market?
Ask them.
How? How do you reach the masses?
So, first of all, you have an idea of who your customer is.
Yep.
Often that idea is, I'm opening an ice cream shop. Everyone who eats ice cream is my customer.
Yep.
Or I'm opening an eyeglass dispensary. Everyone who needs eyeglasses is my customer.
Yeah.
But that is not the case.
Or in Kevin's case, right? Everyone who dies is my customer.
Right.
So that therefore everyone is technically Kevin's customer.
But that is not true. Everyone who dies is not Kevin's customer.
Can I just jump in on what you're saying? Because I agree with you 100%. And this is one of the humbling experiences for me was I said to myself, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to clean house. I'm going to start this funeral home. It's going to be great. We're going to do great numbers, all this kind. And the reality is nobody gave a shit who I was. Nobody. Because I may have had a reputation over at an established funeral home, right? Where I built a career and built a reputation there. But man, when you make that leap over to being on your own, you have to start from zero again. And you, like you said, just because everybody's going to die does not mean they're going to come to me. And that's one thing that I had to really work. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that I had to also overcome and realize that. And I think you remember, if I lost something to my competition, I would be furious. I would be furious because there was an expectation. But once I came to that reality that, Kevin, you have to prove yourself. You have to be, it's just not going to take off. I learned that the hard way. It's just not going to take off the way I thought it was. And thank God it didn't, though, because now I was able to build, and now we're just
Right.
it's great.
And a lot of it has to do with the personality of your brand, right?
Definitely.
I think KVM comes across as being extremely caring and compassionate, but a little bit fun. And to bring a little bit of fun into that death situation is really, really challenging. And I think you've done a great job of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
People who
Thank you.
don't appreciate that little bit of fun are not going to use your services, and that's okay.
Exactly.
That's okay.
That was a hard lesson for me to learn too,
Right.
that it's okay that someone doesn't want to use you.
And understanding who your client is, who your customer is,
Yep.
really, really well
Yep.
allows you to create the right messaging, put it out in the right places, and reach those people and not worry about the rest. For example, Sarah, you create branding packages for businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Every business is not your customer because, for one thing, they have to have a budget
Definitely.
for your services.
Yeah.
And if they don't have that budget, then they're not yours.
Yep.
So it's not even just about understanding who your customer is, but also understanding who they're not and being okay with saying, you know what, we're not a good fit. Can I recommend Fiverr
Oh,
as an option
what?
for
Get
you?
out! Get out right now! How
You know what
dare
I
you
mean?
use that word in my story?
I know, but I'm just, right?
Yeah.
The people without a budget,
Yeah.
if you're not using them, you can point them in a direction that will work for them,
And I do.
which is providing exceptional service in and of itself.
Yeah.
And everybody's good. And then your time is not spent trying to figure out how to work with this customer who isn't really your customer.
That's right, and it kind of covers the topic of you can't do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a client call last week and say, "Can you do this for me?" And I'm like a people pleaser, so I want to overpromise and I want to deliver things that I probably shouldn't be saying I can deliver. And I've learned over the 2 years I've been in business that I need to stop doing that. So when this client called, she wanted me to put a graphic onto a swimsuit, a picture of her husband right on her ass. Actually, it was hilarious. She was awesome. And I said, you know what? I could do that for you, but it wouldn't be what you want. Like the fabric that I put onto the swimsuit wouldn't stretch, and it wouldn't wear well. And I said, there is somebody else in town who can do this for you. Please feel free to go use their services. And I'm really sorry I can't help you. If that doesn't work, call me back and we'll do the second best thing. And she said, you know what? I really appreciate your honesty and I'll be using you in the future.
Awesome.
Even happened to me in funeral service.
Yep.
I had a family come in to our doors, or through our door, sorry, and explained their needs and their wants for the type of service that they wanted. And at that time, where I was in my journey, I knew I wouldn't be able to meet their expectations. So I had said, you want to know something? I would suggest that you head over to another funeral home. I told them which one to go to, who to ask for. And I was happy to do that because, number one, you can hurt your own brand doing
It's
that.
true.
That
It's true.
if you put a face on someone's ass of their bikini and it tears apart, they're going to be choked.
Yeah.
I provide a bad service, especially in funeral service, it's going to hurt me in the long run. So I would rather them go somewhere where they can be served and be served well than try to provide them with a service.
And
from
I
my
think
place.
most people appreciate that.
Yeah.
That honesty, right?
Yes. And, what you said about reputation is so important. I had a client a few years ago who said, Nicole, we really need help in our business. They'd owned it for 6 years. They were really struggling. And I set up a contract with them and took a retainer, and we had many meetings, and I did a lot of work, and the retainer was used up. And I phoned her and said, if you want to continue, we have to sort of
Give me more money.
cough it up.
Yeah.
And she said, well, we need to meet. And so we met, and she said, I have to tell you, I'm very disappointed. And I was like, oh my, why?
Those are the three
Right?
words that every business owner does not want to hear.
Right. And what had happened is she had not implemented anything. And when I asked her why she was disappointed, she said, because nothing's changed. And I said, well, we've spent hours and hours together. I've met with your staff. I've met with everybody.
Yeah.
We've talked about what's working, what's not. We came up with an action plan. She said, well, I'm not very good at follow through. And I thought, oh,
There you
light
go.
bulb, right?
Yeah.
Aha moment. She could be running around this little town talking about me not performing.
When it's actually her that's not.
Right?
Yeah.
She was disappointed in herself and maybe projected that on
Right.
you.
Could you imagine what the accountability is in that place?
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So know who your client is
Yep.
intimately. Not that
Intimately.
kind of intimate.
Well,
You
okay,
gotta-
no.
And so market research confirms that,
Yes.
right? So we have all of these assumptions that we're making when we start out. But at that point, they're just assumptions. And we need to go out and prove them.
How long do your clients typically spend on market research? Like, do they do this for a month? Do they do this for a few weeks?
So we do in the business plan development program. It's 12 sessions over 6 weeks.
Yep.
The first 2 are about getting your ideas out of your head and onto paper. Let's figure out what are those assumptions.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 are on market research. And so we talk about designing a market survey. A lot of them will do an online survey using Google Forms, send it out to appropriate Facebook groups, or I don't recommend their friends be the people they ask because they
Right.
might not hear the truth.
Yes.
And then other market research is around the industry and trends in the industry and consumer trends. And, I might know intuitively that gluten-free is a thing, but should I go and open a gluten-free bakery without confirming that it's actually solid trend and not a fad,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So market research takes all of that into account. And how big is my market? Is it big enough to actually sustain a business, right? How many people are dying in the Okanagan? Do we need to know that. I had a client who wanted to open an indoor play park in Oliver. There simply weren't enough children between the ages of 4 and 12 to sustain that. And in her market research, she believed people would drive from Penticton with their kids. Well, they might for a birthday party. They weren't going to be there every weekend,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And so she confirmed that this was not going to work. And thank goodness, before she spent all sorts of time and energy and money building it.
You know
Yeah.
what? I'd be that one that's in denial. I'd look for confirmation bias every time. Be like, no,
Oh,
I'll make it
yeah.
work. I'll make it work.
And that's one of those things. You know the old saying of, build it and they will come?
Yeah.
It's not always true.
Not always.
It's not always true.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's next? What else do you recommend that startups do?
Pay attention to the financial piece, which starts with creating a forecast, a sales forecast, and a budget for expenses. So understanding what the costs will be and what your market research has told you the revenues will be. And that's how we create the sales forecast. Think about cash flow. When is the money coming in? When does it have to go out? Do we take deposits, provide service, and then get paid the balance? How does that look? How are we treating those deposits? And then starting from day one, doing your books.
This is
We
the
both
part
look
I-
at each other and we're like, oh no.
Fuck.
It is not recommended to have a shoebox that you stuff receipts in.
What about a casket?
Well, there's more room in a casket
There
than a
is.
shoebox. But how do you plan and make fact-based decisions in your business if you don't know how you're doing? Would be my question.
So I'll tell you what I did when I first started. I literally just started like accepting e-transfers into my personal bank account. And then I decided, well, I should probably keep this separate so that at least I know what money is mine and what money is the
That is a
company's.
best practice.
And then I downloaded, I actually got frustrated enough that I asked on Facebook, I'm like, who of my business owner friends uses accounting software that's free? Because I started my business with $0 in the bank, $0 in savings. And I had no money to be spending on a bookkeeper or an accountant
Sure.
or any of that stuff. And somebody recommended Wave apps,
Yeah.
which is 100% free. I mean, there are paid upgrades in
Sure.
it, but for what you need as a startup, I highly recommend Wave apps.
Okay, so I'm going to challenge you a little bit
Okay, do it.
because Wave is a great package, free package.
Yeah.
For service-based businesses.
But not so much for
As
products.
soon as you add inventory to the equation,
Yep.
you're paying for it. If you want it to handle your payroll, you're paying for it.
Got it. I didn't know that.
So, yeah. So I also recommend it for very simple business models.
Yeah. Which is what I was at the time.
If you are, even if you're thinking about employees and inventory, then you will want to start with something else, like QuickBooks Online. And that's because the finance world, the accountants and the bookkeepers out there in the world, that's what they use. So having them, one, paying them to learn the Wave program,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to pay for it.
Yep.
If they don't already know it. Having them move things from one program to another,
Mm-hmm.
that's all really expensive. So it is important to sort of choose your systems,
Yep.
all systems, well, right? There's free email marketing platforms. There's free social media platforms. There's free lots of things.
Yep.
But as usual, you get what you pay for.
What did you do when you first started? Did you actually put money in a coffin? Or a casket? What do you call it? A coffin or a casket? What's the difference?
Kind of, I guess coffins are more like that shape. Like this, what you have on the table right here, we would call this a casket.
Which people can't see.
Yeah, which people can't see. But
But I can.
so,
it's-
well, the at the party last night, the casket that I brought,
Yeah.
that we
So
call
like
that
a
a casket.
rectangular.
Yes.
Very rectangular.
Coffin's
shaped,
more of that.
hexagonal type shape.
Exactly.
Elongated bottom. Type
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Usually the lid is all one piece.
Yeah.
So,
So coffin. Did you put your money in a coffin?
no, you want to know something? Nicole knows this. My story starts unlike anybody else's story. What I walked into, people would kill for the opportunity that was given to me by my business partner. And I was very, very fortunate in the fact that when we partnered up, he brought a lot of he brought everything I needed, accountants, lawyers, really
So,
everything.
yeah, all of
and he told his whole team, treat Kevin like you would me, right?
That's
and
amazing.
It is, well, like I said, the way I started, people don't start that way.
No, they don't.
People don't. But you want to know something? I remember him handing me a debit card with $250,000 on it and just saying, see ya. And I was so scared because I mean, you get all this money. My first major purchase was flooring for the funeral home. It was $5,000 and my heart was racing. I was with my dad at the flooring store and I was terrified. I was like, what if this thing doesn't work? What if this thing doesn't,
Right.
go my way? And then I'm out $5,000, right?
Yeah.
But so going back, for me, I'm not necessarily skilled in handling and knowing what to do with money. I love seeing it come in. I love seeing it come in. The tax man scares the hell out of me. So what I had to do is I take my contract and when we went to the bank, I said, okay, this is what I need, at least for myself to succeed. I need an operating account. I need what we call as like a death certificate account. So every time somebody orders a death certificate from me for $27, I actually, at the end of the quarter, I have to send all that money to the government.
Right.
And then I have a CPBC account. And then I have a taxes account.
Good for you.
What in the fuck is a CPBC account?
It's Consumer Protection British Columbia. They govern funeral service.
Okay.
So anytime money has ever come in, if somebody pays their account, first thing I do is I look at the contract. Okay, they bought 2 death certificates for $54. I will put in $81. CPBC is a $40 charge. I will put in $80. My taxes on that account were $135. Taxes scare the shit out of me. I will put in $450 into taxes. That's how I know that I'm covering that aspect of things. My accountants and bookkeepers, they do everything else.
Super
I just
smart.
know they send me every month. They send me the statement and the P&L from the month before. I go over it. I don't know what the hell it means. I just know if there's not a negative sign at the bottom of that thing, I'm happy, right? So that's one thing that I've really been able to.
I think that's amazing.
It's very
That's-
smart.
And when we're teaching people, I always recommend that you have an operating account, a GST, PST account, an income tax account.
Yep.
And then anything else you need to
Yeah.
keep money separate. Payroll remittances.
Oh my gosh.
They're the worst.
Seriously.
Source deductions are a killer,
They're
right?
awful.
right? I would love to hire whoever, but it's the source deductions that kill you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And that was something I just learned. One other thing I'll say, going back to the taxes thing, it was kind of a little milestone being a startup. But after my first year of business, my accountant gives me a call. He says, Kev, we've just finished year end, blah, blah, blah. This is February, not last February, the February before. And he goes, so we have to now talk and we have to get Joel in here because you guys actually owe the government, because you had a good year, you guys owe the government $2,500, 25 something or whatever. And it was so nice to be able to say, oh no, we don't gotta talk about it. Just take it out of the tax account because I had that extra money there.
Right.
So it wasn't even a worry.
Yeah.
So doing that kind of stuff has made me be comfortable. When talking about QuickBooks and all that kind of stuff, I probably should get some understanding of it.
You should.
Yeah.
And the reason you should is because when you look at that P&L at the end of the month,
Yeah.
first of all, it doesn't tell you anything about cash flow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we also recommend that you have a cash flow statement,
Yeah.
which
That comes up on the balance sheets, doesn't it?
no.
Okay.
So it's about it's sort of a picture of your bank account, right? When do you expect money to be going in and coming out?
Yeah.
Is it actually going in and coming out the way we expect it to? When can I afford to add an employee? When can I afford to look at a new product line or a new location or expand my existing location?
Yeah.
When can we do that? Well, cash flow is going to help you answer those questions. And I talked about I know the business community needs this and jumping into that expensive lease and the results of that.
Mm-hmm.
When that business owner realized there was a problem. The profit and loss statement showed a year-to-date profit of $26,000, but there was no money in the bank. So
No.
P&L's great, but it's not really
Yeah.
that great, right? It doesn't.
I notice that when I look at my
Yeah. Yeah.
profit and losses and whatnot.
I owned a real estate company years ago, and we had 120 realtors between 3 locations. And the business paid for their expenses and then charged their commission account. So we were paying their, and back then we didn't have Facebook and Instagram, just saying. We had the Real Estate Weekly, which was the newspaper that had everybody's listings in it. They bought signs, they placed ads, they made long distance calls from our phone system that we then went through the phone bill and assigned every little 50-cent phone call to someone. And we ran into trouble, cash trouble. And the reason we did is because we weren't collecting on those commission accounts every month. We were only collecting on them when people had commissions coming in. And so all of a sudden, all of our money was out having paid their bills.
And now you're waiting.
We were showing profit.
Yeah.
We looked really good on paper.
Yeah.
Right? So understanding your finances, super, super, super important.
Also, Kevin, I got a bone to pick with you.
What?
Because listening to you say that you don't really know QuickBooks and you should probably learn it reminds me of a conversation you and I had maybe 2 days ago.
Okay. What was it?
Where I said, so Shay's not going to be at the podcast this weekend, so I got to figure out how to set up these microphones, and I have no fucking clue how to do this.
I did
you
say
know
this.
where this is
I
going.
did. Yeah.
And I have no clue how to do this, and my audio guy is away for the weekend, so I'm doing this on my own and figuring it out on my own. And I was sort of in a mood about it. I was like bitchy about it. And Shay did come in and like give me the Coles notes, so full props to her for that, but I don't learn well unless I actually do it. And so I'm bitching and whining about this, and Kevin's like, Sarah, you need to know how to do everyone else's job because you're the boss.
Ooh.
Okay, so
To be fair, I need to clarify, Shay and I are partners in Hip Nation, so I am not her boss, but I understood what he meant by what he said.
And that is
and
so
he was right.
okay, so first things first, I'm not perfect most of the time. Okay,
Even though you portray that you
right,
are.
walking on water. Hey, so number one, there's never enough hours in the day to learn everything. But I listen to a podcast, and I think you just started listening to a podcast. It's called Real AF.
Yep.
Which you would think would be like real as fuck, but it's not. It's real, like real Andy Frisella.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
So
I'm gonna still
shout
say
out
real
to
as fuck. So.
shout out to Andy Frisella and his
Big
brother
shout out.
Sal and everybody.
Yeah. Sal is so dreamy. Oh my god.
Okay. So so one of the things Andy said, and he's very, very real with how he talks on his podcast, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care if you like it or not. He's not for everybody, but I mean, the guy's gone from, I think he said, sleeping on a piss-stained mattress in the back of his first store to doing his businesses do hundreds of millions of dollars. And he puts it out there for people to see. But one of the things he said, I can do anybody's job in this business, in my business. I can do anybody's except for IT. And he's like, and I'm learning. I can't remember his exact words. He's like, the computer guys might have a little bit on me. I could learn it, but here's the thing too. This is where I struggle with control. Is you have Shay that can do this stuff for you. It's important for you to learn it so that if Shay's not here, you can learn it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's also, you could be putting your skills to something better. That's been a big one for me with Aaron.
Yeah.
my apprentice, or I call her my apprentice. She's pretty much running my funeral home now.
Erin's
She
amazing.
is amazing, and I'm so grateful for her, especially like in the last little while. She's really been towing the line, and she was my apprentice when I was at the other funeral home. She learned from me. She came to my funeral home. I've gotten to a point. I had to get to the point where I had to relinquish that control to her.
Right.
So, where she could I could understand, I could trust that she would do that job well.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, she embalmed yesterday from noon till 7:30.
Wow.
She's back in there today doing the same thing.
But it's tough because not all employees are Shays and Erin's.
Right.
And when you get one, you fucking hold on to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you
hold on
treat
to
them
them.
like gold.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
It does take time to establish that trust. And on the other side, no one likes a micromanager. Right?
No.
So yes, you should be able to do their job, but you shouldn't be looking over their shoulder while they're doing
Exactly.
it, telling them how to do it, because they'll
Exactly.
never feel trusted, they'll never feel valued.
And as a leader, you need to be able to put your skills and what you do really, really well into different things.
Sure.
Right? This setting up, I mean, I watch Andy's podcast on YouTube. He walks in, he's got his guys setting stuff up, right? Like, and then he walks in and he absolutely kills it on the mic. So having those, always know your job. I think you should have a basic understanding of every aspect of your job, but also give that control to other people.
Yeah. And so
let them do it.
something I talk about a lot is you either have to master this or hire it. Right?
So true.
So
Yeah.
we start our business. I'm a funeral director. I'm a graphic artist. I'm a plumber. I know what I do really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a marketing manager, finance manager, production manager, logistics manager, whatever's involved in the business, right?
Yeah.
And so as owners, we have to either master those important activities in the business or hire it, outsource it.
If you have the money.
Then you have to master it.
So-
I mean, that's really what it comes down to, right?
Absolutely. And but here's the other part of that with you saying, or have the money. I'm getting to a place in my business right now where, like, we've done over 60 calls in 3 months.
Wow.
Our first year, we did, like, our first actual full year,
Yeah.
we did 85.
Wow.
And in 3 months,
That's
we've
amazing.
done 60. But here's the thing that's killing me right now is the phone, the emails, typing out obituaries, like that kind of stuff is killing me. It's not allowing me to do what I'm good at.
Right.
I know how to do that stuff, but it's affecting what I should be doing. So I was speaking with Tracy Van Rays and Daryl about it one night at my house, and it's funny because it's such a, like, it's something you just should know. But when you actually hear somebody and you actually listen to it, Tracy said to me, she said, Kevin, if your time is worth $150 an hour and you can go and you can hire somebody for 15, 20, 25 bucks an hour, your time's worth 150. It doesn't even come up on your radar. You just know that person is going to take care of whatever
Right.
that is. You will have that money to pay that person because now you're able to do that job that's going to get you $150 an
Right.
hour. So
And that's so true.
so
is
true,
right?
And the way Tracy said it to me, it just clicked in my mind. And the way Daryl put it to me, I was just like, wow. So I gave myself a goal. I said, Kate, 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I'm bringing somebody in. We're going to, like, you guys know where my TV and, like, thing. We're putting in a receptionist desk there. Because when people walk in, there's somebody there to greet.
Yes.
Phone rings. They can answer. They can send emails. They can type. I can
Yeah.
give them that stuff.
Yeah.
And still provide an employment to somebody,
Yes.
right? And that's the big thing, giving them the skills, to come in and do a job for me that I don't have to worry about anymore. And then I can really make the money doing what I love to do.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's absolutely true.
Yep, I
Yeah.
agree. And I can say we just hired our third employee, and I feel a lot, as a business owner, I feel a lot of guilt having people work for me because I feel like I should be doing it myself and that I'm like being bossy pants, like telling people what they
Sarah,
should be
no.
doing. I know.
Because think
I'll
of it
get
this
over
way.
it.
I mean, that guilt thing is crazy when you think about now what you're doing is you're supporting the local economy with employment.
Yes, I understand that. It's just, it's something that I know I'll get over. It's just right now I'm like,
You know what? One thing I like that you're doing right now is I walked in here one day. I'm walking through the front door here, and there's 5 finger. Have you ever heard of 5-finger death punch?
No.
shout out!
Oh my gosh! I
love
walk
them.
in here and I'm like, "What the hell are you listening to?" And she's like, 5-finger death. No, I called it.
Yeah.
I was like, "You listen to 5-finger death punch?"
Yeah.
And it's like this heavy metal. Like I'm like, what if a little old lady walked into this
Right?
place to get something done, and you're in here? She's setting up one of my banners. That's why I was coming down.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the hell are you listening to? But the great thing is, it's part of her culture here. And I know I'm switching the gears a little bit.
No. That's true.
But it's part of your culture, and people will want to work for you because of your atmosphere, because of your culture. That's why I like what you're doing here. That's why I like what we do at my funeral home. We're a little bit unconventional with how we
Right.
deal with death.
Even though you listen to Celine Dion all day.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen. I can listen to Cradle of Filth on one song, and then it kicks over to Andre Bocelli, and I'll sing. I don't even care. Okay. So
Culture is super important,
Oh,
but
it is.
culture is also comes back to that knowing your customer, right? It's about the personality of your business, and the little old lady is not her customer.
no.
It's
So
true.
if she walks in and she's offended, oh well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
And that's been a lesson
And
to learn too,
that's
is like
the thing,
everyone's not for me. And
Right.
I'm not for everyone.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a big one.
And
for
the
me, too.
whole saying yes to everyone thing, if you think about capacity,
Mm-hmm.
how many funerals can KVM effectively do in a day, in a week?
Are we talking full traditional or graveside?
Of course he's gonna get all technical on us.
I could do 2 traditionals in a day.
2, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
can do 14 a week if you work 7 days
Oh,
a
that'd be
week,
so much fun.
right?
Yeah.
But you can't do 25.
No.
Right?
Exactly.
And so understanding what our capacity is also really important, because when we're yes all the time, yes I can do that, yes I can do that, yes I can do that, then we start to diminish our value because we become over capacity,
That's a good point.
right?
Yes.
So taking that, what am I worth? What's my time worth? And how much capacity do I have? And making sure that we are doing the most important things with our personal capacity that we can.
It's a big lesson to learn that you can't do everything.
Right.
You should it in entrepreneurially entrepreneur. Can you say it for me? Why am I having it? I'm a little
Entrepreneurship?
hungover today, so let's
Entrepreneurship.
remember that.
A little.
I've learned there's a very fine line between everything I say. I sit here in one sense. I say to you, you need to know your business inside and out. And then on the other side, I say, well, you need to be able to hand that stuff off to somebody else and let them handle it, right? So it's almost like you feel like you're contradicting yourself in a little bit, but it's such a fine line.
Yes.
And I think only entrepreneurs and business people understand that
Yep.
fine line, right?
And also how could you possibly hand something off unless you fully know it yourself? Because you got to be able to teach somebody that thing that you're handing off.
You also have to be able to evaluate how effective they are at completing that
Yes.
task,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
right?
100%.
Yeah. So
What do you got next on the list?
need versus want.
Oh, this is my jam. I'm full of wants.
Yeah, well, you have a bit of a budget to have the things that
Right?
you want. Not everybody does.
So think about, I want to open a restaurant.
Yep.
And I'm going to have this shiny new kitchen with stainless steel and brand new appliances and pots and pans and dishes and whatever I need for my restaurant kitchen. Oh, what do you mean? There's a restaurant auction in Kelowna.
There's a restaurant
That
auction
stuff
in
is
Kelowna?
used.
Yeah.
By the way, Kelowna is a nearby city, a bigger city than we are, for those of you who aren't from this region.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do I actually, as a startup, need to spend my money on brand new shiny appliances and pots and pans and so on? Or should I make do with what I can get at the auction or used, Facebook Marketplace, whatever that looks like, and work my way up to the brand new shiny? And, you know, I
You're
had
talking about my new car?
I had a really interesting conversation with a fellow who opened a distillery a few years ago, several years ago now. And I said to him, so what is the most important thing you learned in your first year of business?
That's a loaded question.
He said, how to love craft dinner.
Nice.
Whoa.
Good for him.
Right? Now is not the
Whoa.
time, as we're starting out, to go and buy the fancy new vehicle. If I'm an electrician and I need a van to drive around and what have you, is a brand spanking new van what I need? Or do I need a van that will do for now? And maybe I could bring it to Sarah and have a vehicle wrap created.
To which I'd probably say no, because it's probably rusty and not suitable for wrap. But anyway.
So, you're so right, though. Now, on the flip side of that, you also, as a business owner, if you're wanting to expand your business, you have to know when, you have to know when to maybe get that shiny new vehicle.
Sure.
So like with myself, we had a vehicle, a van, as you guys know, was what we started out with. And I'm a firm believer in the law of attraction. I think we,
Yes.
you know, all three of us in some way know. I know Sarah and I have spoke about it. But I was saying over the last probably 6 months, I really need a new vehicle. I really want a new vehicle. Oh, I can't afford. Oh, I can't do this. And oh, I can't do that. Oh, yeah.
That sends the wrong message
It does.
to the universe.
But
Yes.
exactly. But in my mind, I was like, oh, I really want it. But I was talking myself out of it. So guess what happened? We hit a deer and destroyed the front of the thing. And
The universe said, here you go, Kevin.
there you go.
Now you have to.
Now you have to.
Yeah.
And my friend Daryl said to me when I went and test drove the vehicle that you saw outside, I pulled up to his house with it, and he's like, this is exactly what you need to get your business to that next level.
Yeah.
Right? So in recognizing that, absolutely. I mean, well, you know my spending habits when I first started my business. I was like, I want it all. I want new. I'm going to get this. And like I said, I got humbled quick. Very, very quick. But to recognize when you
Yes.
want to,
Yes. And
when
if
you need to get that new
if
stuff.
you're paying attention to your finances, you can actually recognize when even better. So,
Yep.
right? If
Yep.
you really know what's happening, you know your cash flow, you know what the trends are, you know the seasonality, which you come to learn over time.
Yeah.
Right? There's seasonality of some sort in every business. When can we plug that in for next year's budget? And honestly, every business I've ever owned, I've had a budget process every fall for the next year.
Yeah.
And I really, really recommend that you go through that. And it's a line by line, where can I shave off a few cents here, a few cents there in my costs?
I just did that with my business coach 2 months ago, and she actually came at the perfect time because I was at a place in my business, and I think I phoned you, Kevin, and was like upset about it. And I was at a place where all of my money was out. Literally, I had $100 left in my bank account.
Yep.
All of my money was out in orders, and I had none coming in fast enough to be able to like pay my employees and
Right.
pay my cable bill. And this is a struggle of a startup, right? This happens. We get hills and valleys. And then my business coach came in shortly thereafter. We went through line by line, and she taught me about like money mastery. And she said, why are you spending this much money on office expenses every day? I'm like, well, I just moved into this new location. I need shit. I have a branding business, so I have to be able to look good to the public. So I have to get somewhat new stuff. I got to set up my clothing racks. I got to have a nice looking desk. Like, people don't want to walk in here and see a junky looking place. I'm not going to earn their trust as a brand master that way. And so anyway, I'm justifying all these things that I'm spending. And she said, do you know who, I forget his name right now, but, Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
She said, do you know who Warren Buffett is? And I'm like I've heard the name. Like, I'm in business and I should know who fucking Warren Buffett is. But anyway.
He is fairly successful and wealthy.
Yes.
Relatively.
And has multiple businesses.
Yes.
Massive
Railways.
businesses. She said, do you know what he spends a year on office supplies? Across all of his businesses, $500. That's what he spends on office supplies a year.
Is it a little bit deeper than that though?
I'm sure it is.
Because like I get stuff from Staples and it's like 400.
Well, I was going to say, like, this is an office supply.
Think about it this way,
paper,
though.
toner.
When you have, I don't know how many employees he has, but let's say he has 1,000 employees, and he
Tens of
needs
thousands.
paper. Sure. Mm-hmm. And he needs paper to put into each one of their printers. He's not going to Staples to buy that paper.
No.
He's ordering it in bulk.
Absolutely.
And then dispersing it throughout his different companies, right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, makes sense then.
So, but anyway, when she put it like that, I was like, okay, I don't need to be spending $1,000 a month on office supplies.
No.
Even if I just moved into a new place.
No.
So we did. We went through line by line, and she said,
Good.
why are you spending this much here? Why are you spending this much here? And she made me pull out the invoices and show her. And it completely changed how I do business.
Awesome.
And what
Completely.
did you do yesterday? Yesterday morning. I was so proud of her. I was so proud of her.
So yesterday morning, I logged into my bank account, and for the first time ever, I saw $20,000 in the bank. Keep in mind that 2 months ago I had less than $100
Oh my
in
goodness,
there.
that's so exciting. I have goosebumps.
I do too.
So-
I'm so happy for her.
So I took a screenshot and I sent it to Kevin, and then I called him. And then you called me, and you were like, how's that make you feel? And I'm
Beautiful.
like, it feels good. And he said, now you need to take a day and celebrate and then get back to work.
Right on.
And I'm like, I don't even have time to celebrate for a day.
But celebration can just be sitting there and taking it in.
Exactly.
Taking it, looking at that. That's what I do. I look at my stuff, I look at my numbers, and I just go like, holy shit, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it feels good. Like I feel it, right?
And you have to kind of anchor that feeling of joy,
Totally.
right?
Yeah, I got goosebumps just talking about it.
right?
Yeah.
So you can draw on it again.
Yeah.
Like, what did that feel like when I was, oh yeah.
And that's manifestation.
That's
Right?
so true. No, stop with your manifestation.
It's true.
It happens. That's how it starts.
I was teaching the law of attraction
That's
before
a
the
whole other
book was
episode.
written.
You want to know something? Yeah.
Before the book was written, I was teaching. Back in 1990, I was teaching.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm telling you,
And
Sarah,
what were you calling it?
Activity breeds activity.
I like that. I like
that too. It's nice.
So Kevin keeps telling me like I like to put things out in the universe, and to me that sounds really wishy-washy
No.
because I don't feel that the universe owes me anything.
No.
The universe is massive. There are many people and beings and creatures in it. Why, if I send a message out to the universe, does the universe then provide me with what
It's
I
about
need?
everything has a vibration.
Thank you. I was just going to ask you to explain this. listen to her.
Okay,
Hear her out. Hear her
I'll
out.
hear it.
And
I'll
you
hear it.
attract things that are of the same vibration that you are. So if you have that joyful feeling anchored, that's a high vibration.
Like, are you talking about physical vibration?
No,
talking
we're
about
energy.
Think about energy vibration.
Everything is energy.
Is energy.
This wall.
Money is energy.
Yeah.
That poster is energy. Kevin is energy. You're energy. The question is, where are your what's your vibration? I have actually a daily practice that I give people to help them increase their vibration so they can attract better things into their life. That's a whole other podcast.
It is, because I'm still not buying it.
Okay, but here's what I would say to my people. I was running real estate office, and how did we get business? Well, we cold called, and we door knocked, and we held open houses, and that's how we got it. That's how it was then. And so I would say to them, activity breeds activity. Mm-hmm. You need to pick up that phone and phone 100 people. Mm-hmm. And they'd say, well, last time I picked up the phone and phoned 100 people, I didn't get one.
Phone another 100.
Well, phone another 100. Yeah. Because the sheer act of making those phone calls will result in business happening for you, maybe not from the phone calls. Maybe it'll be you're the only one in the office and someone walks in and says, I need to sell my house or I need to buy a house. Your activity will breed that activity.
Can I quickly say something about your experience yesterday with your win? So you sent me that. I phoned you because I'm very proud of you in your business journey. So you sent me something. You told me what it was. I felt good for you. Like, you made me feel good.
Yeah.
So I had to give that back to you, and I said to you, like, this, you got to take time for this. Let it soak in. And I made you feel good about it too.
Yeah,
right?
You did.
That's that energy.
Yeah.
That's that energy. And that 20,000 that you have, that's in your account, I have no doubt in I'll give you 2 5 months max.
I was going to say 2.
There you go. You're gonna have that.
You're gonna double it.
Double it. Because you're doing it. I would challenge you to really, with an open mind, look into the law of attraction, manifestation, things like that. I know it sounds wishy-washy, but let me tell you, I've done shit in my life where I have no business being where I'm at. It's true. Like, I look back to everything and I go, ooh, this, like, I am very lucky to be where I am.
Isn't that interesting? Where you kind of look back and you think,
how the
who
fuck
did that
did I
happen to? Who did that happen to? Was that me?
I said to Aaron the other day when we were just running at the funeral home, and I said, Aaron, we just stopped what we were doing, and I said, when you first came on to Kettle Valley, did you ever think it was, because we were sitting there and we were just like, I was like, close the doors. I got my bank account.
I was there.
Down to $4.78 it was. And I was sitting there and I'm like, oh shit.
And Kevin doesn't manage those things very well.
No.
Just saying.
No. I'm not lying.
Kevin gives really good advice and doesn't take it himself.
Okay.
No, seriously. This is what I've learned about Kevin in the last few months.
Many people do that though, right?
That's
and
true.
So just to step back for a second on this.
Nicole's wagging her mom finger at Kevin.
If you think about, and I'm trying to sell her on this idea of vibration and what we put out there.
Mm-hmm.
Think about people who take ownership, who focus on solutions, who are accountable, who are doing it, who are not creating a story of victimhood and terrible life and nothing good ever happens to me.
Yeah, woe was me.
Right?
Yeah.
That was me at the beginning of my...
What is the difference, right, in terms of success? The victim versus the person who takes ownership of their results, right? I'm responsible for everything that happens to me.
Yes.
If I'm not responsible for the situation I find myself in, I'm at least responsible for how I respond to it,
That is the biggest lesson I'm learning right now.
right?
Yeah.
And there's a huge difference in success levels of those two types of people. And I really believe that that victim is vibrating down here somewhere.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Well, and something that I was saying to Kevin about this universe shit the other day was, and Kevin's a huge fan of the Real AF podcast, so I threw that back in his face and I said, I listened to an episode of Real AF the other day, and Andy Frisella had on one of his, I want to say was he a graphic designer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's his name's, I believe I can't pronounce it. It's like Madot, I believe.
Yeah. It was a fantastic podcast, and Andy Frisella brought up this putting it out in the universe, and the other fellow Madot, or I'm not sure how to say his name either, but he said, I'm not really into that. I think all that manifesting really is you think about something that you want, and then you do the things to get that thing that you want.
But what's making you do that?
Yes.
But what's making you do that?
Your head.
And what are
Your
what
brain.
are we?
We're humans.
We're energy.
We're energy. It's your
We
energy.
vibrate. We vibrate at like you were just saying, very low frequency. We're not going to do shit. We don't want to do anything. When we start upping that vibration, we start attracting more and more stuff that meets that vibration.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, look at us. We've become a lot closer over the last couple months because you and I are on the same
Absolutely.
vibrational level here.
Yeah.
Right? I look at people like Andy Frisella, Aaron Wagner, people here in town, Holly. Holly's killing her game. When we were having dinner the other night, Holly said to us, hey, I'm looking for a general manager for my business. And I told her, I said, that is so awesome. That means you're just getting up to that other next level
Right.
for your business where you're going to have somebody running your business. You're going to know everything's taken care of. And for me, it's like, that's what we strive for.
Yep.
So Holly lays that out to us at dinner, and I sit here and I go, well, that's what I want to.
Yeah.
Right? I want that freedom to be able to go where I want, do what I want. I won't ever retire. It's not me. The problem I have is when I die, who's going to embalm me? Because nobody will do it as good as me.
Well, hopefully someone in your funeral home will know how.
Hopefully one of my kids.
You won't have held on to that.
I'm pretty sure Aaron could handle it just fine.
I told Aaron, yeah. Yeah. So I'm a true firm believer in the law of attraction, vibration. When I'm feeling like shit, everything's shit.
Yes.
When I'm feeling good, I will take on the world and
Get out of my way.
get out of my way.
Yeah.
I'll blow you over.
Yeah.
Do you know, something just occurred to me, and I think that my issue with calling it a vibration is that I have such a visual brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm picturing, like the sound waves that a vibration makes.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it
That
is.
is
just
exactly
doesn't feel
what it
very
is.
scientific to me.
And you want to know something? But it is.
Yes.
It is very scientific. You can go and you can listen to these scientists talk about it and say it is a very, very real thing. The vibrations that we put out into the universe. Sorry.
That's okay.
I was a little far from the mic there.
Yeah,
so
just come a little closer. You're good.
it's a very real thing. But it's like a muscle. You have to practice it.
Yes.
You have to practice it, and it takes a long time, but before you know it, you're going, holy shit.
So that's why I developed this daily practice. Do we have time to talk about it?
Yeah, we're actually at an hour already.
It
But-
feels like we've been here for 15 minutes.
Right?
In my opinion.
and
yeah.
as long as you guys
I
are
got
cool to
nothing.
keep
I
going,
got-
so
So
keep going.
Nothing else
I'm
going
just
on.
going to share this.
Yeah, share it.
I have a hair appointment today, so
What time
you
is
might
that?
not have anything else going on, but I do. So the daily practice, it starts with making a list of 5 things that prove that you're in alignment with where you want to be, whether that's in your business, your life, profitability, whatever that is. And so when I'm working with brand new business owners, I say it could be as simple as I put gas in my car yesterday. I got 2 more likes on my Facebook page, right? It doesn't have to be earth shattering. It just has to be, you have to start recognizing that evidence that you're doing the right things. Then you talk about what you're grateful for.
Huge.
Affirmations.
Whether
Huge.
it's your business that you're focusing on or your life overall, right? So you're going to do this one or the other or both. What am I grateful for? Well, I'm grateful for these things in my business. Then you set an intention for your emotion for the day. Today, my dominant emotion will be joy, gratitude,
Productivity.
get her done,
Yeah.
whatever. And then you establish what I call inspired actions. So 3 to 5. 5 is a lot. Things that you're going to do that day that are going to help you continue on this direction that will provide evidence for tomorrow that you're doing the right things, right? And Sarah's not going to like this. I trust the universe
Yeah, fuck that.
to look after whatever, right? So when I was writing my online course, one thing I put there was content flows to me easily, right? I trust the universe to help me create that content. And then you do sort of a blue sky, wouldn't it be amazing if this happened, right? Wouldn't it be amazing if I could buy my husband an airplane for his birthday? Like, it's totally, right? Without judgment, without attachment. Just
Kevin's mind goes straight to
blue
that's
sky
balling.
it, right? Blue sky it.
Yes.
And then you won't believe it when I tell you. And writing about what you want to happen as if it's already happened. So it's a daily practice, and I can tell you, has changed lives.
I'm going to add to that. So, I mean, I'm not going to get into it for our listeners. Oh, I've always wanted to say that.
That's amazing.
But, I know something. You guys know, there's things going on in my life right now. And what I tell myself is, with what's going on, things need to happen for me to get to the next place. The universe is setting me up right now for what's to come next. I truly, honestly believe that, because I get these signs, and I'm grateful for them. Even if I feel gratitude for things I don't even have yet. Okay, and that's another big thing too. You need to feel gratitude for not just what you have now, but also what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
What you're wanting. You have to
create
what you're creating. We as entrepreneurs, we live in a dream world. We do. Because if we didn't, we'd have a 9 to 5 sitting bagging
Not
groceries.
that there's anything wrong.
Not
with
that there's
9 to
anything
5.
wrong with it. But we're a different breed.
We need
We need
9 to 5.
the 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
Right? And we do. And we appreciate them, and it is what it is. But people that are like us, we live in the future. I live in the future. I don't know what that future looks like. I think about it. I put it together in my mind. And a lot of times, it could be a week, a month, a year later, it shows up and I go, where? And I even say, well, how the hell did this come? Then I'm grateful for it, right? Drake, the rapper guy.
I hate Drake.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can tell. I've never walked into your store and heard
Right?
Drake playing in here.
Drake is so not my brand, okay?
No. But he said that when he was coming up, on his desktop, on his computer, he had a picture of his house, or the house he wanted. And it was a couple years later, he ended up realizing, holy shit, the house on my desktop on my computer is the house that I live in now. And I've heard a lot of stories.
I'm going to share my story about that.
Okay.
I did a vision board. The first one I ever did was, I was 29. And the way I took all these creative thinking classes, excuse me.
That's okay.
And the way they taught us to do the vision board was not to look for things that you want, but to allow your subconscious to create it. Mm-hmm. And so we had magazines, and we would flip, rip things out. Words or pictures. Anything that caught our eye, we just grab. And it had to be really fast and without any kind of thought process to it.
Yep.
And then we went through that pile of pages that we'd ripped out, and we cut out whatever it was that caught our eye, and we arranged it on a big poster board. And then they taught us how to interpret the boards, and I'm not going to get into that right now. But the central image on my vision board was a baby's face. I was 29. I was not in a relationship. 2 weeks before my 31st birthday, I gave birth to David.
What? Oh, I
And
just
it's
got
gonna make me cry.
Head to toe
Hey?
goosebumps.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And of course, like, I adore him. My baby. Yeah. Even though he's 6'2".
He's a big boy.
230 pounds. But yeah, you can create and manifest.
It's a true thing.
100%.
One day it's going to come and it's going to hit you in the face there, and you're going to be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is what they're talking
It's
about.
true.
You're going to phone me.
And me.
Hey, Kev, guess what?
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Nicole, do you have anything else on your list to talk about things that startups should
I
be
could
doing?
actually talk forever,
I know
Sarah.
you could.
So I mean, create a risk management plan ahead of time.
What's a risk management plan?
What happens when disaster strikes? What is your plan B? And I talk about this in a time when disaster is striking all over the place. I actually worked with a hotel group on what we call a business continuity plan. I think it was February 16th, 2020.
Oh,
And
good timing.
We were talking about, what happens if the power goes out, what happens if Interact doesn't work, if there's a rock slide on the highway, right? Things things that and I jokingly said, there's this virus in China. What happens if someone visits your hotel from there and they bring the virus with them? What will you do?
Up.
And everybody laughed. And it was 1 month later that I got an email from our general manager that said, please work from home. I think this will last till the end of the month. That was like the longest month ever.
Straighten the curve or flatten the curve.
So it's about identifying the things that could happen, that could go wrong, how likely they are to go wrong, how impactful it will be on your business if they go wrong, and what's your plan B.
And also the severity of those things.
Before they happen.
Yeah.
Right? So right now, what are we seeing? Supply chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to renovate this storefront and be open by October 1st.
Nope.
Oh, can't get all the things I need to renovate the storefront. Now what? Or I'm ordering those new appliances for my restaurant. They fell off the ship.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Right?
Hey.
They were in that container that's at Cape Scott right now on the beach. I've heard stories about windows that were supposed to arrive last spring that still haven't arrived. Or my client who does canning and preserving. There were no canning jars or lids available.
Oh, because everyone was like doomsday
Every
prepping.
time you turned around, there was something else that you couldn't get. And it's happening, and it's not getting better.
No.
Right? I was listening to a radio show yesterday where they were talking about this, and a fellow phoned in. He was a furnace and air conditioner tech. And he said, it's taking at least 6 weeks to get parts. I advise your listeners to have someone come and look at their furnace and service it. You don't want to be without heat for 6 weeks in the middle of winter.
That's a little bit important.
Right? And so the things we don't even think about.
Yeah.
Oh, can't get that. Can't get that. We're having trouble getting that. So what do? What's your backup plan?
Yep.
Who's your alternate supplier if your supplier goes on strike
That's really
Right.
crucial.
or
too.
shuts down because of COVID?
Yeah.
Now what?
The one story I always and I really like it because we had to take action. And when COVID hit, what was it, March? When did they shut everything down?
March 16th?
2020?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when they did that, I remember I looked and I said, I remember telling Lee and Aaron this. I said, the second we get scared of this, we will close our doors. The second we, as a new business, because we were Brentley, we will close our doors. We won't survive because we'll be too scared.
Yes.
So I said, I phoned up Andre and he had printed me, don't worry.
Andre is a local business owner who does printing.
Yes. But he had done up my bags for me, my earn bags that we
Yes.
give to families. So what we did is we jumped on the phone. We phoned churches, old folks' homes, social workers, absolutely everybody that deals with seniors or deals with anybody really, not just seniors.
Yeah.
Anybody that wasn't comfortable. And we said, give us your grocery list. We will go. We will buy your groceries. We will deliver them to you. We'll give you the receipt. You just pay us what it is. There's no delivery charge.
I remember
nothing.
you doing that, and I thought, you go.
And then what
Kevin.
we did, because I needed my brand, I needed Kettle Valley Memorial out there, is we took all their groceries out of their grocery bags
And put them in the earn bags.
and put them into the earn bags and took them to the houses. So they got all these things.
Priceless.
And to this day, I'll be in the grocery store and I'll see somebody open up a Kettle Valley Memorial bag and put their groceries in.
Cool.
That's why we got onto the shirts, right? A funeral home that gives out swag.
Where's my shirt?
Hey, come on down. We got them all. We had a family. We just did the funeral for 3 days ago. After the funeral was done, the daughter comes up to give me a hug and say, thank you so much for your help. Can I get one of those shirts? That's what she said to me. Right? And
To
it
be
was
fair,
like,
they are really nice.
they're really sure. And who does those shirts again?
That'd be a shout out to Graphically Hip.
Oh, yes.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
hope you've heard of them.
that's the fun part.
Yes.
Of
Yeah.
being a business person and an entrepreneur is figuring out those or coming up with solutions
Yes.
to problems. People say, Kevin, why don't you buy ads in the newspaper? Well, I can go give the newspaper $2,000 for 2 million impressions on a whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
Or I can go spend $2,000 at Graphically Hip, give shirts to people, and watch them walk around town with them.
Exactly.
There's 30-something thousand people in this town. I'll put a shirt on every single one of them,
Beautiful.
and they'll walk around town advertising for me.
Beautiful.
I will take that challenge.
Done.
So, maybe not today.
Yep.
But hopefully you'll invite me back.
Oh, 100%.
I two things that are super important that I kind of get soapboxy about
Yep.
are pricing
Yep. You always like look in my direction when you say
And
that.
understanding your value proposition.
Yep.
What is it that people are buying from you?
I think we should have an entire episode on those two things alone. Because
Sure.
we could talk about that for
Yeah.
easily an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I have lots of stories, and I'm sure you do, and I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
And Shay probably does as well. So, yeah, I think that'd be a great episode.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So just one question.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, Nicole?
Where can people find me?
Yeah. Social media, Facebook, email. If anybody has
Facebook,
questions.
Email is probably the best.
Okay.
And my email address is nclark, Nclark.
That's N as in Nicole.
Yes. At CF, which is for Community Futures, Okanagan.com. nclark at cfokanagan.com.
And Okanagan is spelled the Canadian way. I just learned recently that the Americans spell Okanagan O-K-O,
Yes.
and we spell it O-K-A,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Nagam.
Yes.
Socials? You have any social medias that people can know about?
CF Okanagan on Facebook, on Instagram. And I have my own, but I won't share those here.
That's fine.
That's not
You
who
don't
I'm
need people
It's not who I'm representing.
coming after you personally. Okay,
But
well,
email is the best way because I see it as it comes in all
Yeah.
day, every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get a notification on my phone that a client has messaged me somewhere, and an hour later I'm trying to figure out where the heck it was. So email, guaranteed response.
That was Sarah's pop, by the way.
if anybody heard that weird fizzing noise, I was like freaking out. Where is the sound coming from? So next week we actually have Kevin back here as a guest instead of a co-host.
I get to tell my story. It's going to be fun.
Kevin has requested a specific episode name.
Oh, check this out.
It is Building Courage, Resilience, and a Fucking Empire.
Nice.
And we are
Right?
so excited.
I can't wait.
So excited for
I'm
this
so
episode.
excited. Yeah.
As we were so excited to have you here, Nicole.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much for both of you for being here. We did an hour and 21, which is awesome.
I could have
Flew
kept
by.
going for,
Flew by.
Yeah.
It did. And this also means that now I have to upgrade my account that hosts my website
Yeah, you
because I
do.
don't have enough hours on my current account, and that's okay with me.
That's good.
See, and that's great.
The universe is telling you that this
Oh.
podcast is going to grow.
I've been telling her that. I've been saying to her, this is going to be awesome.
So,
I'm so happy to be a part of this.
me too.
Yeah, Kevin is by far one of my biggest fans.
Huge.
Which I appreciate in a friend. And just told me the other day, he said, you know what? I see this podcast being like so big that it could be your main source of income.
Wow.
Look
not
at
that Kevin knows what goes on in the world of podcasting, but I appreciated the
sentiment.
Yeah.
well, just look at the conversation that happened here today.
Yeah.
Right? You're sitting here saying we've been over an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, it feels like 20 minutes.
Me too.
And you're going to have more of those.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Nicole's going to be back. I'm coming back. It's going to be huge. And we're going to get this out to everybody.
Yep.
Right? It's
Yeah.
going, like, people that follow me, I want them to hear this.
Yeah, me
because
too.
there's valuable shit that we're talking about here.
That's true.
And we're doing it. A lot of the business people and entrepreneurs, they've done a lot of this stuff already. So they'll tell you how they did it. We're telling you how we're doing it and how it's going for us right
now.
Right.
Real time.
Exactly. Real time.
Real time.
Real time.
And we're
I'm
living
hungover
it.
as fuck today and I got to go do some shit after this. And
Oh,
I'm like,
well.
ooh. Exactly. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I was up 6:30. Ready to
You
go
were up
because
at
there's
6:30.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
had 4
I think
hours
I was
of
in and
sleep.
out of sleep most of the night too. I don't know.
Oh my.
It was tough. It was tough. Hey, I made some decisions last night.
You
Uh-oh.
did make some.
And it had, like I said, I'm not a big drinker, but last night was fun.
Did you have the capacity to make those decisions, Kevin? Sort of like having
You should
the
go through mine.
capacity to contract? Maybe not.
I knew exactly what I was doing last night. That's what I'll say. Yes.
Leave it at that.
Do you remember me coming up to you last night? We had a murder mystery event last night through JCI, which we're both members of. And I said to Kevin, I think you need to go home, buddy. Because
I think I remember you telling me that.
And you're like, no, I don't need to go home. I'm totally fine. And I'm like, Kevin, you're bordering making an ass out of yourself.
So,
Uh-oh.
no.
That's a good friend.
No. She wanted to make sure I was here for the podcast. So she needed to be
Actually,
like,
I wasn't even thinking about the podcast at that time.
She
I
was being a
literally
good
was
friend.
thinking about
Hey.
you.
The Jaeger was flowing. And we were having fun.
We were having
Shooters.
fun.
End of story.
Yeah, and I like red wine now. That's the crazy thing.
Finally.
I had a lot of red wine last night too.
That's excellent.
So
we have a lot of great red wine in this region.
I just recently,
Just thought
Yeah.
I'd throw that in there.
We do.
yeah.
Not
So-
that I know, because I hate both wines, but
Oh,
whatever.
well. There's the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
I'm my own breed, right? No universe, no wine.
The things you're missing out on.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh
I know.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good way to end it. Thanks again to both of you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And stay here.